If you're like 99% of the information product creators and marketers out there, you are making this mistake. Yes, I raise my hand. I make this mistake all the time as well. But the AI, if you learn how to prompt it correctly, the correct strategy can help you fix it. This is what most creators do right here. They explain, for example, how to pollinate strawberries indoor with dry, flat instructions. They have a question. How do I pollinate strawberries indoors? It's a simple answer, right? Use a brush to transfer pollen between flowers. Here's the problem. It's technically correct, but emotionally it's dead. You can apply what I call the story spark enhancer. This is step 1 of 3. These are 3 different frameworks or prompts that I'm going to give you here inside the Prompt PsyOps Platinum Upgrade method to allow you to fix the number 1 mistake 99% information product creators make and build, or when they are building offers. This is not just offers as well. Understand that this is content. So what you can do in this case, you can take this, what most creators do, and you can add spark to it by using this prompt. You can see here, we're going to retell the basic process of pollinating indoor strawberries. You would just insert your topic there, or the question or the problem that you're trying to solve from your own personal perspective as the creator. And this prompt goes on. You simply take this prompt and you paste it in. In this example, I'm putting it inside of Grok, and I'm saying, okay, let's break this down. And then you can see what happens here. Grok is going to tell you, and this is very important, this prompt isn't going to write the story for you. This is another mistake that people make, right? I don't have personal experiences or emotions, but I can craft a vivid, relatable narrative from a human perspective tailored to your needs as a content marketer. This is Grok or any AI telling you that it can't or it doesn't have personal experiences. This is where you set yourself apart. Okay. But here is the key. I'll guide you to share your story in a way that's authentic, emotionally resonant, and trust building while prompting you for details that add spark you're looking for. Below, I'll retell the process of pollinating indoor strawberries as if I were a beginner sharing my journey, and then I'll prompt you with specific questions to flesh out your own story for maximum impact. Here it's going to write a narrative, and this is a type of content that you want to create. Then it's going to give you the prompts here to build your story. The prompts in this case are the questions that you need to learn how to answer as a content creator. For example, number 1, how did you first learn about pollinating strawberries indoors? You want to tell your story. How was your first attempt like? What mistakes did you make and how did you overcome them? It's going to ask you questions like this, and it's going to tell you why these questions matter. And that is what this prompt here, the Story Spark Enhancer prompt, it is what it does. It takes you and it moves you past that big mistake that content creators are making. It is technically correct, but it's emotionally, it is dead. All right. So there's a link in the description for the Prompt PsyOps Platinum Upgrade method to fix this big mistake that info product creators and content creators create, because these questions, and it takes you through these questions that you need to understand to create content at depth, but also understand when you answer these questions, you'll be able to craft a personalized narrative that aligns with your content marketing goals. It also, the AI states here, if you have a specific word count or platform, blog, Instagram, or YouTube, or audience demographic in mind, please let me know and I'll tailor the tone and format accordingly. So what this does at this point, it goes into my profitable online roadmap, or to build a profitable online business inside of my affiliating 9-step roadmap, you need to generate traffic to an offer, and then ultimately you want to put people on an email list. This is what Grok or the AI is telling you now from this prompt. Once you've identified how to correct this mistake, inside of your topic, you need some tools, some tech, and some time to create consistent content. Here's where you want to start telling your story. Then lead people up to your offer, which is the solution to their problem, then add them to an email list, and then eventually profit and scale. So that's what we're doing here with this very first prompt. And you can see that this first prompt is taking you above and beyond what most marketers do and how you can correct this number 1 problem where 99% of the folks that are creating content out there fail. That's not going to happen to you anymore because you're going to be able to spark or add a spark to your content. The next one that I want to show you is the contrarian boost builder. Here's what most creators do. They just regurgitate. They just say the exact same thing, and they give the same old bland advice. How do I manually transfer pollen between flowers? Simple. Use a paintbrush or Q-tip. Boom, that's it. That's the answer, right? Yeah, that's what the AI will give you. But here, let's present the standard method, but immediately suggest a lesser known, faster, or unconventional alternative. Explain why it works or why it may be better, or why it might be better. Here is an example output and explanation for why it works for the contrarian boost builder, but take this prompt yourself and test it out. And you go back to Grok and you say here, and I'm using Grok as an example, but understand here, how do I manually transfer pollen between flowers? Simple, use a paintbrush or Q-tip. This is a very flat answer, but it is a correct answer. But how do we flip this and say, look, let's go out and let's do this. Let's test this and see what works. And then present the standard method above, but immediately suggest a lesser known, faster method, or one that's faster. So you have the standard method, then you have the unconventional alternative. In this case, in this example, to manually transfer pollen between flowers, they suggest using, or the AI suggests using a tuning fork. Now, you would need to test this to see if it works, and that would be part of the first prompt where you actually tell your story. But look, why does this work? It explains why it works, but also understand why you're explaining why it works. You go back, and as a marketer, this works because you spark curiosity and surprise. It makes your info product feel advanced and adds an insider level where you are showing and adding real value and not copying others. All right. So there is a time and place for all these prompts. So understand at this point, you have created this content. You're telling your personal story. You've stacked now the contrarian sort of alternative way that people may not have heard of, and they may not even believe. But when you tell your personal story and give your examples, it's going to work. So what do most creators do? Again, with this biggest mistake that creators are making, 99% of people are doing this when they create content. They mention a single tip and then they move on. For example, make sure your indoor strawberry plants get enough light daily. It's simple, right? This is what you need to do to grow indoor strawberry plants. Make sure they get enough light daily. There's no depth. There's no differentiation. You don't set yourself apart. So what we can do is we can apply the layered value amplifier with this simple prompt right here. Here's the example output and why it works. And then, of course, when to use it. This is when you're diving into how-to content and you want to go step by step and go deep. And of course, if you go back to my 9-step roadmap and you're looking at generating traffic to an offer, of course, that offer is solving a problem for people that you're going to add to your email list. When you pick that topic, you want to create consistent content here and you want to go deep. And this is how you go deep with how-to content, is by amplifying these tips that you are getting. So here you're going to have a quick win tip, a pro tip, and a pitfall to avoid. So in this case, you just need to take this prompt. And again, there's a link in the description. You can grab all of these prompts. And this is a layered value amplifier. We're simply going to take it over to Grok again. And you can see here, make sure your indoor strawberry plants get enough light daily. That is the first tip. But you want to amplify those tips and provide a quick win tip, a pro tip, and a pitfall to avoid. Here you can see exactly what it is doing, and it is just allowing you to go to the next level with tips. Of course, you would want to provide your own personal use cases and show people how these tips work for you, and you want to expand on these, but it gives you a quick win inside of creating content to know that you can then layer this with additional tips or additional information. So you have the layered value amplifier, you have the contrarian boost builder, then you have you start with the story spark enhancer, and all of this is inside of my Prompt PsyOps. It's a different way of thinking. It's a philosophy for learning and understanding how to focus when it comes to creating content with AI. This is the platinum upgrade method to upgrade your content. But what if you were to stack all three of these or understand that you take the story spark enhancer, you then take the contrarian boost builder, and then you take the layered value amplifier and you stack them together. And we do that inside of Grok. You can see here that we have created the Berry Easy Pollinator, your guide to fruitful indoor strawberries. You identify the problem, you identify the solution. Then Grok helps you build a step-by-step guide, common mistakes to avoid, bonus tips for success, and then your first berry moment, and then why all this matters, because you want to get the most out of your indoor strawberry growing in this example with the Berry Easy Pollinator. You can see there we have, just with that title, we have beat out what most are failing. 99% have this mistake. Info product creators, content creators, marketers that want to focus on identifying a problem and then leading people to a solution. You need to correct this mistake. And the link in the description, the Prompt PsyOps Platinum Upgrade Method. These sets of prompts, these 3 prompts, are going to upgrade your content instantly when you give the AI these prompts, and then you work to build on that content that you're working with your AI assistant to create. All right, if you like this one, you're going to love this video here. Check it out for more prompts inside of this philosophy of Prompt PsyOps. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.